I know accepting $5,000 to ruin a stranger's evening makes me a terrible person. I'm doing it anyway because my laptop is dead, my rent is due, and desperation has a way of making terrible decisions feel like the only decisions. You look like a divorced substitute teacher, Sophie says from my bathroom doorway. I examine my reflection. Brown lipstick. Foundation 2 shades too orange. Eyeshadow that makes me look vaguely ill. Perfect. That's the goal. Laser. Sophie's voice drops the teasing edge. You don't have to do this. I can lend you the money. You don't have the money. You have credit card debt shaped like money. I grab the bottle of perfume I bought at the drugstore specifically for tonight. It smells like artificial vanilla and regret. I spray it liberally on my neck. Besides, it's one dinner, one awkward, terrible dinner, and then I never see this guy again. The bathroom is too small for both of us. Sophie leans against the door frame, arms crossed, watching me transform into someone unlovable. The overhead light buzzes. Somewhere in the building, a neighbor is playing music with too much bass. Tell me again why some random woman is paying you $5,000 to be bad at a date, she says. I cap the perfume. She said he's her friend, an investor friend. And apparently his family is pressuring him to settle down, so he keeps going on these setups, and she wants to help him avoid a bad match. By sending him a bad match. By sending him someone so obviously wrong that he'll realize he's not ready to date. I turn to face her. It's almost noble if you think about it. I'm thinking about it. It's not noble. She's right. But noble doesn't pay rent, and noble doesn't replace a laptop that died in the middle of my biggest project presentation, and noble doesn't stop the low-grade panic that's been humming in my chest for 3 weeks straight. I check my phone, 40 minutes until I need to be at the restaurant. Okay, I say. How do I look? Sophie studies me. Her expression cycles through concern, amusement, and something that might be pity. Honestly. You look like you're trying too hard to look like you're not trying, which I guess is the point. The point is to be forgettable and slightly off-putting. Mission accomplished. I grab my coat. It's the wrong coat for this restaurant, but that's also intentional. Everything tonight is calibrated to make Nathan, whoever he is, grateful when this date ends. Sophie follows me to the apartment door. Text me when you're done, and if he turns out to be a creep, I'll come get you. He's not a creep. He's a busy businessman who needs to be gently discouraged from dating. That's what the woman who's paying you said. I hesitate, because now that Sophie phrases it that way, it does sound strange. But Margaret had seemed so sincere at our meeting. Polished, yes. Expensive looking, definitely, but genuine in her concern. She'd handed me an envelope of cash and said, just be yourself, but more, you know, amplified, clingy, talk about marriage, ask about his finances, make him uncomfortable. I'd said, won't he just think I'm nervous? She'd smiled. Make sure he doesn't. Standing in my doorway now, I push the doubt down. $5,000. That's 3 months of breathing room. That's a new laptop. That's one less thing keeping me awake at night. I'll text you, I promise Sophie, and head for the elevator. The restaurant is the kind of place that doesn't list prices on the menu. I know this because I looked it up beforehand, and then I closed my laptop and stared at the ceiling for 10 minutes, wondering what kind of person eats at restaurants where a single appetizer costs more than my weekly grocery budget. The host greets me with professionally concealed judgment. Name, Vivienne Hart. The fake name feels clumsy in my mouth. I'm meeting someone. Right this way, Ms. Hart. He leads me through the dining room. The ceilings are impossibly high. The lighting is warm and somehow flattering to everyone, except presumably me in my drugstore makeup. The ambient noise is a low murmur of expensive conversations. And then I see him. He's already at the table watching me approach. I can't read his expression in the dim light, but something about his attention feels heavier than it should, more focused. He stands as I reach the table. Vivienne, that's me. I force a smile that I hope lands somewhere between eager and unhinged. Nathan. Nathan Mercer. He extends his hand. His grip is warm and brief. Thank you for meeting me. His voice is lower than I expected, calm, measured, like someone who's used to controlling rooms without raising his voice. I sit down too quickly. The chair scrapes against the floor. So, I say before he can speak, How long have you been single? His eyebrows lift slightly. About a year. That's a long time. Do you want kids? I want kids. At least 3, maybe 4. I've always thought 4 was a good number, you know, even symmetrical. I watch his face for signs of retreat. The plan is simple, be so overwhelming that he ends this dinner early. 30 minutes, Margaret said, make it unbearable and he'll make an excuse and leave. But Nathan doesn't flinch. He picks up his menu, glances at it, sets it aside. 4 is a significant commitment. Have you thought about the logistics? I blink. That's not the response I expected. The logistics? Housing. Education, schedules, 4 children means a complete restructuring of adult life. He takes a sip of water. It's worth considering before committing to a number. He's not running, he's engaging. I recalibrate. I've thought about it a lot, actually. I have a whole plan. I even have names picked out. Want to hear them? Sure. I didn't actually prepare names. I scramble. Madison and Braden, and the other 2 are still in development. Something flickers across his face. Amusement, disbelief, I can't tell. Madison and Braden, he repeats. Classic choices. Is he mocking me? I can't tell that either. His tone stays even, neutral, impossible to read. The waiter arrives. I order something I can't pronounce. Nathan orders for himself without looking at the menu, which means he's been here enough times to memorize it. I file that away as evidence that this man is operating in a completely different financial universe. So, Vivienne. Leans back slightly. What do you do? This is where the performance gets tricky. Margaret told me to stay vague about work. I'm between things right now, figuring out my next chapter. You know how it is. I don't actually. I've worked at the same company since I was 24. Must be nice having that stability. I let my voice go wistful, then pivot to aggressive. What's your salary? He pauses. Here it is. The line, no reasonable person asks about salary on a first date. This should be the moment he signals the waiter, makes an excuse, ends this disaster. Comfortable, he says finally. Why do you ask? Just curious. I like to know what I'm working with. Working with? I lean forward, channeling every desperate date from hell story Sophie has ever told me. I believe in planning ahead. Financial compatibility is important. Do you have life insurance? A 401k? What's your credit score? The silence stretches. The ambient restaurant noise seems to fade. Nathan studies me, really studies me, not with disgust or discomfort, but with something else. Curiosity maybe, or calculation. My credit score is excellent, he says slowly. Why do I feel like I'm being interviewed? Isn't that what dates are? Interviews for partnership? Some people would call them conversations. Conversations are inefficient. I expect him to argue, to push back, to give me an opening to escalate further. Instead, he does something worse. He laughs. It's a quiet sound, controlled like everything else about him, but genuine. You're not what I expected, he says. Is that good or bad? I haven't decided yet. He picks up his menu again, then pauses. The ceiling in here bothers you? I freeze. What? You keep glancing at it, the lines, something about the architecture. I hadn't realized I was looking, but he's right. The proportions are off. When they added the mezzanine, they compromised the original height ratios, and the load-bearing solutions created these awkward visual interruptions. The sightlines are wrong, I hear myself say. When they renovated, they sacrificed the original proportions. You can see where the structural calculations forced them to. I stop. My own voice sounds wrong, too informed, too interested. I mean, it's very tall. I like tall ceilings. They're very tall. Nathan's eyes narrow, not suspicious, curious. You know architecture, he says. I know tall things. The moment stretches. I've cracked the performance, shown something real through the Vivienne mask, and he noticed. Of course he noticed. I overcorrect hard, spending the next 40 minutes being even more unbearable. I chew with my mouth open. I interrupt him constantly. I circle back to kids, to marriage, to his financial portfolio. He doesn't leave. The dinner that was supposed to last 30 minutes stretches to 2 hours. And when we finally stand to go, he says, I'd like to see you again. I stare at him. You would. You're interesting, Vivienne. I'd like to figure out why. He walks me outside, helps me into a taxi. The door closes and I slump against the seat, perfume and foundation and exhaustion pressing against my skin. My phone buzzes, then again, and again. I pull it out. Sophie's name fills the screen, text after text stacking up with increasing urgency. OMG, I just looked him up. Eliza Eliza. That's Nathan Mercer, the Nathan Mercer, as in Mercer Holdings, as in your boss's boss's boss. You just asked your billionaire CEO about his life insurance policy. Eliza, answer me. The city lights blur past the taxi window. My stomach drops through the floor of the car, through the asphalt, toward the center of the earth. The driver glances in his rearview mirror. You okay back there, miss? You look like you're about to be sick. I am. I absolutely am. This was supposed to be over. One humiliating dinner, $5,000 gone and forgotten. Instead, I'm standing in my kitchen at 7 a.m., watching Margaret DuPont's name flash on my phone, and I already know whatever comes next is going to be worse. I haven't slept. My apartment looks like a crime scene of anxiety. Empty coffee cups, crumpled tissues, my laptop's dead husk still sitting on the counter like an accusation. Sophie crashed on my couch around 3 a.m. after I refused to stop pacing. The phone keeps buzzing. Answer it, Sophie mumbles from beneath a throw blanket. The suspense is killing me. I'm going to tell her I can't do this anymore. I grab the phone before I can change my mind. I'll return the money. I'll figure something else out. Good. Sophie sits up, hair wild. That's the right call, I answer. Hello, Vivienne. Margaret's voice is silk over steel. I hear the date went well. Actually, about that. I pace toward the window. The morning light is gray and unforgiving. I appreciate the opportunity, but I can't continue. I'll return the $5,000. I'm sorry for any inconvenience. Silence. Then Margaret laughs. It's not a nice sound. That's adorable, she says. You think this is optional? My stomach drops. What do you mean? Eliza Chen, junior architect. Mercer Holdings, 3rd floor. Employee ID 4472. You've been with the company for 2 years. Your performance review is scheduled for next month. She pauses. Shall I continue? I can't breathe. The kitchen walls feel like they're pressing inward. You knew, I whisper. You knew who I was the whole time. Of course I knew. Did you think I picked you at random? Her voice hardens. I needed someone with access, someone desperate enough to say yes and vulnerable enough to control. Why? What do you want with Nathan? That's none of your concern. What is your concern is this. If you don't continue, I make one phone call to HR. I explain how one of their junior architects accepted payment to humiliate the CEO. I have receipts, Eliza, bank transfers, our text messages, everything. Sophie is watching me now, blanket forgotten. She can hear from my face that something is very wrong. You'd destroy my career, I say flatly. I'd destroy your life, no reference, no severance. Good luck finding work in architecture after that story makes the rounds. Margaret lets the threat settle, or you could simply continue what you started. A few more dates, keep being terrible, eventually he'll lose interest and you'll walk away clean. How many more dates? As many as it takes. I want to scream. I want to throw the phone against the wall and pretend none of this is happening. But I can hear Sophie's breathing behind me, and I think about my rent, my dead laptop, the student loans that never stop compounding. Fine, I hear myself say, I'll do it. Smart girl, he'll text you today, be available. The line goes dead. Sophie is beside me before I can move. Lisa, what happened? What did she say? I tell her everything. The blackmail, the threat, the trap that closed while I wasn't looking. When I finish, Sophie's face is pale. This is insane. This is actual, literal blackmail. We should go to the police. And tell them what? That I accepted money to sabotage someone's date, and now I'm upset about the consequences. I sink onto the couch. I did this to myself, Soph. I took the money, I said yes. You didn't know. I should have. My voice cracks. I knew something was wrong when she handed me cash in an envelope. Normal people don't pay strangers $5,000 to be bad at dinner. I just wanted it to be okay, so I convinced myself it was. Sophie sits beside me. She doesn't say anything. She just takes my hand and holds it. My phone buzzes. Nathan Mercer, I enjoyed last night. There's a comedy show Friday I think you'd like. Interested? I stare at the screen. Somewhere beneath the panic and the guilt, something flutters. I hate myself for it. What do? I ask Sophie. I don't know. She squeezes my hand. But whatever you do, be careful. This guy isn't some random mark. He's powerful. And if he finds out what's really going on, she doesn't finish the sentence. She doesn't have to, I text back. I'd love that. 3 words, 3 lies, and I'm in deeper than ever. The phone rings twice before Cole picks up. I set down my coffee and watch the morning traffic crawl past my office window. 23 floors up, the city looks almost peaceful, manageable. Tell me you have something, I say. Background check came back. Cole's voice is careful, the voice he uses when he's about to deliver news I won't like. Eliza Chen, 27, Ohio State Architecture Program, graduated with honors, been at Mercer Holdings for 2 years, solid performance reviews, no red flags in her file. And she's drowning, student loans, credit card debt. Her laptop died 3 weeks ago, and she's been using the office computers after hours to compensate. Rent's overdue. He pauses. She's exactly the kind of person Margaret would target. Margaret, even her name tastes bitter. So she's not a professional, I say. No, she's a desperate person who made a desperate choice. The question is what you want to do about it. I think about the dinner. The performance she put on, clumsy, obvious, almost endearing in its transparency. And then that moment when she looked at the ceiling and forgot to be Vivienne. The way her voice changed when she talked about architecture. The way her eyes lit up. I want to see what she does next, I say finally. Nathan, Cole's frustration bleeds through. She was paid to humiliate you by your ex-girlfriend. This isn't some romantic comedy where the con artist has a heart of gold. Maybe not. I watch a plane trace a line across the gray sky. But she had a chance to take the money and run. Instead, she stayed for 2 hours. She talked to me like I was a person, not a target. And when I asked to see her again, she looked terrified. Because she's in over her head. Exactly. I turn from the window. People show you who they are when they're scared. I want to see who she is. And if she keeps lying, then I'll know that too. Cole sighs. I can picture him pinching the bridge of his nose the way he does when he thinks I'm being reckless. Friday, I tell him, I'm taking her to that comedy club on Michigan Avenue. Casual setting. Let's see if she can keep up the act when she's not hiding behind a fancy restaurant. And if she can't, then things get interesting. The comedy club is dark, crowded, and absolutely the wrong venue for maintaining a character. Vivienne would hate this place. The sticky floors, the cramped tables, the comedian currently making jokes about dating apps while the audience howls. I hate it too, but Eliza might not. Nathan found us a table near the back. Close enough to see the stage, far enough for conversation. He's wearing jeans and a casual sweater, and somehow that's worse than the suit. The suit was armor, this is just him. You look different, I say, grasping for Vivienne's voice. Less corporate. I look like a person who isn't at work. He signals the server, 2 whiskeys neat. I don't drink whiskey. Vivienne probably does. So, I attempt, have you thought more about what I said about kids? I was thinking we should discuss timelines. Nathan's mouth twitches. You mentioned 4, Madison, Braden, and 2 in development. He remembered. Of course he remembered. I've been workshopping the other names, I lie. What about Braxley? That's not a name, that's a noise. I almost laugh, catch myself just in time. The comedian shifts topics. Something about architecture. Buildings are just very expensive boxes we convince ourselves are necessary. We spend millions of dollars designing slightly different rectangles and then act surprised when someone asks why the rectangle costs so much. The snort escapes before I can stop it. It's loud, graceless, completely genuine. I clamp my hand over my mouth, but the damage is done. Nathan turns. The club lights catch his eyes, gray, warm, focused entirely on me. There you are, he says softly. What? Nothing. But he's smiling, really smiling. Not the polite smile from the restaurant. Something real. I like that sound. I don't know what you're talking about. My face burns. That was a very Vivienne laugh, very sophisticated. You snorted. Sophisticatedly, he laughs. That quiet, controlled sound from the first date, but warmer now, more open. Something dangerous is happening. I can feel myself slipping, the Vivienne mask loosening with every minute I spend in his presence. He keeps asking questions that pierce through the character. Keeps making me laugh before I can remember not to. By the end of the night, I've forgotten to mention babies 3 times. I've had actual conversations about actual things. When he walks me outside, I realize with horror that I've enjoyed myself. Same time next week, he asks. I should say no, I should run. I should confess everything right now and throw myself on whatever mercy exists for people who have made the choices I've made. Okay, I hear myself say. His smile turns soft. Almost sad, like he knows something I don't. He probably does. The taxi disappears around the corner and I pull out my phone. Cole answers on the first ring. Well, she's not going to tell me. I start walking toward my car. The night air is cold, sharp, clarifying. Not yet. I told you she's desperate. She'll keep lying until you force her hand. Maybe, Nathan, Cole's voice hardens. She was paid to humiliate you by Margaret. This isn't some romantic situation. This is a con. I think about the way she laughed tonight. That graceless, genuine snort. The way her eyes went wide when she realized she'd let something real slip through. Then I'll give her more chances to choose differently. And if she doesn't, I don't answer. Because I don't know. All I know is that somewhere under the performance, there's someone real. Someone who talks about buildings like they matter. Someone who snorts at jokes about architecture and then looks horrified at herself. I'm not ready to give up on finding her, not yet. There's a moment, right before everything falls apart, when you can feel it coming. The air changes. Sound goes muffled. Your body knows before your brain does. I felt it the second I walked into that gala and saw Margaret Dupont smiling at me from across the room. But I'm getting ahead of myself. 3 weeks. 3 weeks of dates that stopped feeling like performances somewhere around week 2. 3 weeks of falling for someone I'm actively deceiving, of laughing at his jokes, and then hating myself in the taxi home. 3 weeks of Margaret's texts demanding updates, of lying to her about progress while lying to him about everything. This morning, I woke up and couldn't do it anymore. Sophie finds me in my bathroom, staring at my reflection. No clown makeup this time, no Vivienne costume. Tonight is the Mercer Foundation Gala, and Nathan asked me to come as his date, not Vivienne. Me, Eliza Chen, you look terrified, Sophie says. I'm going to tell him. The words feel like stones in my mouth. Tonight, before anyone else can. Sophie's eyes go wide. Everything, the money, Margaret, all of it. I grip the edge of the sink. I can't keep lying to him, Soph. I thought I could compartmentalize, but every time he looks at me like I'm something worth seeing, I want to scream that he's wrong, that he's looking at a performance. What about Margaret, the blackmail? I don't care anymore, and I realize, saying it out loud, that it's true. Let her call HR, let her ruin my career. I'll find another job, I can't find another conscience. Sophie crosses the bathroom and wraps her arms around me. She smells like the coffee she's been nursing all morning, warm and familiar. Promise me, she says. Promise you'll tell him before anyone else does. I promise. The gala is overwhelming. Crystal chandeliers scatter light across a crowd that probably owns more real estate than some small countries. The air smells like expensive perfume and champagne. Somewhere, a string quartet plays something classical that I should probably recognize but don't. I'm wearing a borrowed dress, Sophie's, from her one semester of sorority membership, and heels that are already making my feet ache. I feel like a fraud, which, to be fair, I am. Then I see Nathan. He's standing near the entrance, scanning the crowd. When his eyes find me, something in his expression shifts, softens. He looks at me like I'm the only person in a room of 300, and my heart cracks a little more. You came, he says as I reach him. I said I would. You look, he pauses, that quiet, controlled smile I've come to anticipate. Real. The word hits harder than he knows. Nathan, I need to tell you something. My voice shakes. Can we find somewhere private? There's something. Nathan. The voice cuts through the crowd like a blade. I know it before I turn. Margaret Dupont glides toward us in a gown that probably cost more than my yearly salary, her smile sharp enough to draw blood. And you must be the famous date. Her eyes rake over me. Eliza, isn't it? Or should I say Vivienne? The room tilts. I'm sorry, everyone. Margaret's voice carries. Heads turn, conversations pause. But I think Chicago's elite deserves to know exactly what kind of woman Nathan Mercer has been parading around. Nathan's hand finds mine. His grip is warm, steady. Margaret, he says quietly, don't what? Don't tell them how she and I met. Margaret's laugh is poison. Tell them, Eliza. Tell them about the $5,000. Tell them about the job. I can't breathe. The chandeliers blur. 300 people are staring at me, and I have nothing, no defense, no excuse, no way out. Nathan, I was going to, I know. 2 words, spoken calmly, almost gently. I stare at him. What? You were paid $5,000 to sabotage our first date. Nathan's voice is steady, carrying just far enough for Margaret to hear. Margaret hired you. You work on the 3rd floor of my building. Your laptop crashed 3 weeks ago, and you couldn't afford to fix it. The room has gone completely silent. My pulse roars in my ears. You knew. My voice sounds like a stranger's. I've known since the morning after. I was waiting for you to tell me yourself. Margaret's smile freezes. This wasn't. You were supposed to be humiliated, devastated. Nathan turns to face her fully. You sold stories about me to tabloids while we were together. You violated my privacy, my trust, and the privacy of people I care about. When I ended things, you didn't accept it. This was your revenge. Margaret's face goes white, then red. And instead, Nathan continues, you introduced me to someone worth knowing, so thank you for that. The silence stretches, someone near the bar coughs. Then Margaret turns and walks away. Her heels click against the marble floor like gunshots retreating. The crowd parts for her and nobody tries to stop her. Nobody says a word. The gala continues behind us, muffled and distant. Hundreds of people drinking champagne and pretending nothing happened. Maybe for them, nothing did. For me, everything just collapsed and rebuilt itself in 60 seconds. Nathan leads me through a service door and onto a balcony overlooking the city. The night air is cold and sharp, and I breathe it in like I've been drowning. We should talk, he says. Yeah, my voice shakes. We really should. He leans against the railing, watching me, patient, waiting. Who are you? He asks quietly. Not Vivienne, not the performance. Who are you really? The question cracks something open inside me. I'm nobody, I say before I can stop myself. I'm a girl from Ohio with too much debt and a laptop that died at the worst possible moment. I took money to be terrible because I was terrified of losing everything I'd worked for. I thought one night wouldn't matter. I didn't expect. What? You? The word catches in my throat. I didn't expect you to actually see me, the real me. Every time the mask slipped, you leaned closer instead of pulling away. I've spent years making sure no one sees the mess underneath, and you just, I'm crying now, actual tears hot on my cheeks, graceless and genuine and completely out of my control. You kept looking, I finish. Nathan is quiet for a long moment. The city glitters below us, indifferent. I wanted to find you, he says finally. Under all of it, I wanted to know if you were real. I'm real. I'm just also broke and scared and really bad at asking for help. I know. He takes my hand. His fingers are warm against my cold ones. I read your employee file. You're also talented, stubborn, and you design buildings like they're love letters. That's real too. You read my file. Cole was very thorough, a hint of humor in his voice. Also, your performance review is going to be excellent, regardless of what happens here. Your work speaks for itself. Something loosens in my chest. Not forgiveness, I haven't earned that yet, but permission to stop running. I was going to tell you, I say, tonight before Margaret showed up, I was going to confess everything. I know, his thumb traces circles on my hand. That's why I kept waiting. I wanted you to choose it, not because you were caught, because you wanted to be known. So what happens now? I ask. We are still on the balcony. The party has thinned. Somewhere below, the city glitters, indifferent to the fact that my entire life just restructured itself around a conversation. Now, Nathan considers, now we start over, no masks, no performances, just you, whoever that is, and me, whoever I'm trying to become. That's terrifying. I know. He smiles, that real smile, the one I've only seen in glimpses. But you laughed at my joke on date 2, that ridiculous snort, and I thought, I want to hear that sound for a very long time. That's a low bar for a relationship. I'm a simple man with simple needs. I laugh, the real one, the one I've spent years hiding, graceless and genuine and mine. He laughs too, and in that moment, standing on a balcony above a city that has no idea what just happened, I realize something. I was paid $5,000 to show up ugly to a date. Instead, I showed up terrified, desperate, and hiding. And somehow, impossibly, that was exactly what he was looking for. Not perfection. Not performance, just someone real enough to find.